So today we're going to be talking about how I've made extra little journal books from my extra supplies from my Illustrated Faith kits. So this one was from Created to Create 2. I just made another one of these books. You can see it on my tutorial for WordNerd. And somebody asked me how I made them, so I thought I'd show you. There are a couple of ways to make them. This one that I'm holding right here is made with just a ribbon binding, and I used grommets and a hole punch, actually a Crop-A-Dile, but you can just use a hole punch, tie it together, tie all your cards together, and you've got a book. It's really quite that simple. But the other one I made the other day with my WordNerd looked more like a bound book, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So I just am taking a piece of 12 by 12 scrapbook paper that I already have and cutting it down to size. So basically what I want to do is double the size of that card so that we can make a full book. Plus I give myself an extra ½ inch so that the pages kind of tuck inside the book nicely. So these cards are 6 by 4 or 4 by 6. So the top I cut at 8½ inches, and so it'll fold over, and the cards, see, they kind of just fit snugly in there just fine. So if you have more cards, I don't, because I used them in that other tied ribbon journal, but if you have more cards, you can just stick them in here however you want and you can go. But I've got all these great scraps left over from my 12 by 12 piece of paper. Now this paper is really old, you guys, so it's not on the market anymore. So I apologize, but you can use any paper you have. I've even used just white copy paper on the inside before too, or some white cardstock. So it just depends on what look you want. You can do pretty much whatever you'd like. So I'm just cutting these down to size so that to be honest, these aren't like perfectly 4 by 6, all of them, which is usually what I do, but I really like using up what I've got. So these are a little bit off size, and then you can see I'm just looking at ways to use the other scraps of this 12 by 12 piece of paper. Again, I just like using what I have, and it's kind of a fun challenge to see if you can use it. So this is a Crop-A-Dile. Mine is 1,000,000 years old, but you can still buy them. They're on the market. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch holes and then put grommets in all 4 sides. Now you guys have to forgive me because I had my camera angled funky and half my work is off screen. I am so sorry. I'm getting used to filming and figuring out how to place my camera for you guys. So I'll just make sure you know what's going on. And so I am really sorry that half of this is off camera right now. It's so goofy. So the Crop-A-Dile kind of has its own process that I'm not going to be teaching right now. I'm sure there's tutorials all over the place on how to use it. It's really simple. It looks kind of complicated, but it's a simple tool to use once you get used to it. And I love it because I love the finishing touches of these grommets. If you don't have a Crop-A-Dile, you can buy grommets like from a sewing store. And there's a little hand tool that you can use with a hammer to make grommets, or you can just leave them out completely because just the hole punch would work just fine. So there's lots of options for how you can kind of connect this binding, but I'm kind of a grommet fan, so that's why I pulled out my Crop-A-Dile for this. What's funny is a lot of these tools and papers and things I'm using are left over from scrapbooking like 15 years ago. So I'm really using up old stuff and mixing it up with my new Created to Create kit leftovers. And I don't have a whole lot of leftovers because I already made that other ribbon book. Another option for binding here is you can get a super long stapler and that can reach to the middle of your book. And so you can also staple the binding, but I really love kind of how whimsical tying these off with ribbons looks. Now I'm using twine here to go ahead and tie the pages together, and because it's easy to get through the holes. And then later on I'll be adding some fun stuff to the twine, but we'll see that when we get there. All right, the pages are kind of tight. Yeah, so let's go ahead and switch that up right on camera right here. Aren't you glad that you're not the only one that makes mistakes? Yeah, I make mistakes all the time, so you just kind of roll with it. Don't worry about being perfect. It's all about creation, having fun, and making a gift for someone. These little journals would make a sweet little gift for a friend. You know, if you enjoy doing these kind of things, it can be a journal where you can do extra journaling in it, or it could be a gift for a friend, and it's really sweet. Like, you could write a little note in it and say, oh, I hope you're having a good day, or sorry you've been going through a hard time. Maybe you could journal your thoughts out in here, or something like that. Just a nice sentiment. So we're going to use some of the stamps here from the Created to Create 2 kit. I just love them. So my goodness, why not use them? And I just clean my stamps as I go with baby wipes that I have just sitting on my desk. Makes it super easy to be able to switch them out, keep them clean, make it nice and tidy, because I'm not a tidy person. So if I don't have a good process to do something, it's just not going to happen. So we're stamping some designs all over here. I like to do it just kind of random. I also like odd numbers. That's kind of a little rule, not rule, in the art world, is that our eye is drawn to odd numbers. So if you're going to put polka dots or designs or things, you'll often see people putting odd numbers of things on the page. So I end up stamping 7 of these little scissors on here. That's just a little art tip for you. For some reason, our eye likes the asymmetry of odd numbers. So, especially if you're doing kind of a random pattern like this with these little scissors. So you can write on here, you could put, this journal belongs to Susie, my friend, or you could write a little note on here. I'm just writing, this journal belongs to, and you'll see I'm not doing anything really fancy with my handwriting, because honestly, I'm just trying to kind of move fast and show you guys some ideas. But you can add things to your handwriting, your normal handwriting, to make it look a little fancy, like this gold pen. You could outline it in black. You could go over it in black. You could do little lines around it or underline it. You can do all sorts of things to make your plain old handwriting look a little fancier. But I'm not going to finish this right now because I just don't want to bore you guys to tears. I'd rather you learn this and you start taking your ideas and putting them in your book than you just sitting here watching me make my book. But I know I love watching other people. Now here's big oops. What are we going to do? Okay, yeah, just going to peel that off and literally throw it away. But there's always, well, this is kind of a cool metaphor actually. There's always redemption when it comes to crafts. So we made a mistake. We can fix it. I had one more cute little strip of paper. I'm going to put it right there. It's not exactly the same as it was. So I'm going to add a little bit of washi tape to kind of create that same thickness that I had before. And actually, I think it turns out much cuter this way. So sometimes your accidents turn into fortunate ones and you discover something new, and then there's a technique that maybe you could use again. So I used one of the Illustrated Faith paint cards there to cut the washi tape with. I just tore it off on the edges so the edges would be straight. And I like that technique. So when I want a straight edge for my washi, sometimes I want the rough edge, but for this one I wanted the straight edge. So now we're just kind of taking a look at what we can do to decorate the rest of the book and put some more embellishments in it. Right here I am taking washi tape all the way around the bottom edge, inside and outside, through the book. Now this is something you could do before you bind the book. It might be a little bit easier, but you see it wasn't that hard to tuck the tape under the pages there. I just like how that kind of ties the bottom and anchors things. So now we can go in and take a look at some of the pages and decide what we want to do. Since this is all green, I want to break it up a little bit with these cute little flowers. These are from the Bloom collection from Illustrated Faith, and I'm going to just hand draw some lines. So I like kind of the whimsical feel of hand-drawn lines. But if you like straight lines, you can totally use a ruler here. You could put in some lined paper. You could put in an index cards, all sorts of things if you want to get some lines in here, but you want them to be more straight. On this page, I'm just going to keep it pretty simple. Stamp amen all over the pages. Again, you'll notice I've got odd numbers on each side, top and bottom, which does make even. It makes an even 10, but our eye kind of goes to the top group and the bottom group, and therefore we've got odd numbers. I don't know. Maybe you guys don't care about that, but I just like the way that looks. So now I'm just going to draw a fun little box where somebody could put a picture, do some journaling, just something different than journal lines, why not? And then put some journal lines here on the other page for them. Add little squiggles and kind of heart doodads, and that page is done. Super whimsical and just super easy, right? You can do this. This really doesn't take any talent. It's just playing with stuff, which I think makes it even more fun. So look what I found. I had some extra die cut pieces from my kit that I forgot about. So we're going to add a few of these into this book, which is a perfect use of these die cuts since we're making a little created to create themed journal, which I will probably gift to a friend because I love making these journals, but I don't need this many. And how fun would it be to just surprise a friend with a little gift like this? And you can see this is sped up at 2 times the speed. Just so you know, it took me a half an hour to put this together, but that included a lot of little decorations, a lot of details, and so really this isn't a very long project to do. So and you can take as much time or as little time as you want. You can put in, you don't have to draw in or stamp or do anything on the interior pages, even if you don't want to. So here I'm just taking one of the paint brushes and we're gonna kind of crop off the corners on the back page here, which I think looks kind of fun. Then let's color them in. So let's do one in this coral color. I love this color and it matches the kit really well. And then let's go in and pick another color. Get some green on there, kind of a teal blue green. And then the last corner, I don't know if it's gonna show up on camera, but I do it in a little mint green, which actually does show up. It's just really subtle, but it's cute. So look at that. Super easy, super quick. You got these great things. And we're gonna add the little words right there. Bloom where you're planted. And these little tabbies that I got at the dollar store. You guys, these are the best things ever. I use them so much and I still have some. I think I bought like 3 packages of them and they came with a lot in them. If you can find little tabs at the dollar store like this, these are made out of chipboard, so they're really sturdy and they've got really good sticky on them and they match so well with the Illustrated Faith whimsical colors. So I'm gonna throw little tabs on there and we're gonna put cute little clip that I made with just some ribbon tied to it, and we are getting close to having a finished product here. I just want to do a couple more things, something else add to the front here. Trying to decide exactly what I want to do, and this is where you just get to be creative and have fun. Now you saw my little ribbon stash there. Those are where I put my extra little ribbon ends in that jar, and then they come in handy in a time like this where I just need little bits of ribbon. So again, using up stuff that I already have and little scraps that come in handy, I'm just going to make little piles of these ribbons and then we're going to tie them in with the twine. And you could totally just leave the twine, or you can make the twine long enough that you could tie a bow, or you can add little ribbon parts. Ribbon parts? I don't know if that's a word, but you can put ribbon parts in with your twine, or different colors of twine, or maybe add some chunky twine. There's, anything. The sky's the limit. We're created to create, right? If you're watching this video, you just get to play. And this is totally about play. There is nothing but play about this. So just don't worry about making it perfect. Just worry about having a good time. Worry about having a good time? No, just have a good time. So, and there you go. Have a great time making your own little ribbon journals. Bye.